In order to understand Kratos' standing in Norse mythology, it's important we talk about where it all started. Within the first installments of God of War, we find Kratos in Greece, swearing revenge on all his enemies. After being granted extreme power by Ares, the Greek god of war, Kratos was tricked into slaughtering his own wife and daughter during a village raid. Their ashes were then bound to his skin, giving him the ashy white hue he's known for, allowing him to don the name of the Ghost of Sparta. During the first game, Kratos runs through a series of tasks to grant him the power to face down Ares himself. In the end, Kratos kills Ares and inherits the dead god's former title, becoming the new god of war. With this newfound power he abuses, he leads a Spartan army across Greece. The other gods are not happy about this, and Zeus betrays Kratos in the process, stabbing him through the chest with the sword of Olympus. After escaping the hands of fate and being killed, he comes back from the dead, swearing revenge and slaughtering the entire Greek pantheon. After ravaging Greece with nowhere else to go, he sets his sights on the Norse world of mythology. Kratos is Kratos is in an unfamiliar and icy land called Midgard. He is relocated to the Norse wilderness, far from his homeland of Greece. There he has settled down and married a woman named Faye, and they had a son they call Atreus. As he arrived in these unknown lands with nobody to kill, exact revenge upon, and with everything being totally unfamiliar to him, the rage he once felt as he slaughtered the entire Greek pantheon turned to guilt. The endless killing did not remove the pain of him slaughtering his previous family, and the guilt he had lingered. Soon Faye turned, the angry, guilty monster we all knew, to somebody who had something new to protect. While Kratos knew his sins could not be forgiven, Faye and his son gave him a new hope of a better life. Before the story begins, Faye passes away due to unknown circumstances, and Kratos chops down a tree marked by his dead wife for use as funeral pyre. Unknowing to Kratos, this tree had a protection spell that allowed Kratos to raise Atreus away from the eyes of the Norse gods. In his relationship with Atreus, it's somewhat strained, as the pair find themselves in this tense dynamic as they set off to complete Faye's last request, to spread her ashes atop the highest peak in all the 9 realms. Their journey is cut short before it even starts by the arrival of a heavily tattooed stranger who we later learn is the Norse god Balder. After not wanting to kill any more gods and live a simple life in solitude, he is forced to enter battle with Balder. This resulted in Balder's death, setting up the next God of War game, as he's forced to have a remaining conflict with Odin, Thor, and other remaining Norse gods. The sustainability issue that is brought to light by Kratos in his conflict with Balder is ecological, mainly due to Kratos' standing with other gods of this new realm. While Kratos is an extreme example, with his past following him wherever he goes, we learn that individual relations are pivotal to understanding ourselves and the ones around us. Kratos knew what his crimes were and how that would make him look when gods of other lands observed him, and he knew the severity of his actions when he decided to kill Balder, further adding to his title of a god of war, a god slayer. This raises the question of how do we imagine the process of change? By understanding Kratos and his journey, we get to see the stages of anger, grief, reconciliation, and all the factors that go into change. While Kratos may be an extreme example, we see him go through all 7 stages of grief, these stages being shock, denial, anger, bargaining, acceptance, hope, and processing grief. By seeing all of these stages put forth in front of us, it allows us to reflect upon ourselves the same way reading a book would teach us about a new lesson in life. It's by consuming different forms of media in a productive way that allow us to start pondering and asking the bigger questions. By understanding Kratos and his relations to the ones around him, it allows ourselves to ponder our own mistakes and how that affects the ones around us too. Now that we understand why Kratos does what he does and the moral reasoning behind it, it's important to understand this within the context of pop culture. Within a day of age where many people do not read anymore, due to the easy access of information given to us by technology, the way people fundamentally take in media and information changes with the times. People need entertainment, a story, or something to reel them in. The lessons people learn from books is merely translated onto games and other various media. Having a story people can sympathize and connect with, all while being immersed, can arguably do a better job of instilling the kinds of lessons people would need to carry out in the real world. There's a different level of connection that pop culture brings to games like God of War. It is indescribable when put next to a book. Between music, scenery, and action, the plot is so much more digestible and easy to get into. Pop culture is merely a vessel or a tool to help games teach people the kinds of lessons they would likewise not learn because they don't take the time to read when so much information is at their fingertips. Books have their place, but sometimes pop culture in the games it promotes, like God of War, can do a better job for the select target audiences.